Hey everybody, how's it going? On today's video, we are going to be talking about a lit RPG book that is soon to have its second book out on Audible. And I just wanted to go ahead and create this video to get people aware of the first book and maybe a new series that they could get into. So without further ado, let's jump into what this book is and what's about and what it's called. So this is, there's a lot of words in this title, A Small Town in Southern Ilvaria, an Isekai lit RPG. The series is called A Budding Scientist in a Fantasy World. This is book one of this series, and it is written by A. Caswell and performed by Alexandria Ryan. This audiobook length is 27 hours and 2 minutes, so a good little bang for your buck. And I really like this series, and I hope I convey with this video that if this is something that you're interested in, you can go to Audible. That's where I get most of my audiobooks, and pick it up. And if you don't like this audiobook series and don't like what I'm talking about, then you've dodged yourself maybe some time that you can save and find a different audiobook or a different book in general to enjoy. That's the point of all these videos that I make, talking about audiobooks, lit RPGs, and all that good stuff. So, what is a budding scientist doing in a fantasy world? So, as we've said in the title, it's an isekai story. The main character, her name is Alice. She gets whisked away. She went to bed, and then she woke up on a forest ground, not knowing where she was. And so she's trying to figure out how to get to civilization and how to get back home. And she wants to be a scientist when she grows up. And she's using all of the information and knowledge that she had in her previous world to this new, not really, she doesn't really know yet it's a fantasy world, but this new environment. So she's, trying to figure everything out, while at the same time she figures out she's in fantasy world after she is infected with mana poisoning. And with what that happens is there's a chance, like in this series that you'll learn in later, or you learn about later, is that there is not a lot of chance of surviving this, but she figures out how to survive it. And lucky enough for her that this is a rare occurrence. This is not the way that some people become mages. And so she survives this more barbaric way of becoming a mage. Eventually, she finds herself in a city, and she is, just put into a lot of situations that is unfortunate for her, because she is someone that has been whisked away, isekai'd into a new fantasy-esque world. So she's just trying to figure that out with her scientific mind and trying to analyze all situations to get through and survive. So I would like to talk about more of the pros at this point, the things I really liked about this series. I know that was a little bit of a short summary of what's going on, but I will leave a link in the description of this video so you can get a better summary from the author and even get a little bit of a sample from Audible to hear if you're more about this, so you can get more of a feel of what's going on. But the things I really liked about this series is diving into the world system. Alice is a very analytical character, and she's trying to piece by piece ingest the information using the scientific method in a fantasy world. I really like that, because there are some other audiobooks that I really enjoy of fantasy genre, lit RPG, and all that good stuff. And sometimes the characters just don't dive into the world and try to kind of not break it, just figure out okay, how can I cheat this world with all and get more power, or measure things in a scientific way. But Alice in this story does that. She takes her time and is really, as she progresses in the story, she gets a little bit more of tidbits of information, and then she tries to measure things out. Sort information, and sorry, just try to remember it. But she's just sorting information and doing scientific tests to see where uh, where this magic lies and how to use it to the best of her ability. So I really liked that and how she was kind of just nitpicking the world and how it worked. Um, Next is the character growth. Alice is a guide. She's thrown into this situation where doesn't really know what's going on. She is eventually like picked up by people because it's a little odd for this young girl, And in the beginning of the story, she finds a dead body and it has items on it that she takes because at the time she just needs things to survive. So she was able to take stuff that she could use, and people noticed some of the equipment, some of the items that she had that didn't look like someone at her age would um, really have or should have. And so she gets kind of investigated that. But just the growth of this character and the way she tackles situations I really thought it was just plausible and enjoyable to see her character tackle them and the way she uh, interacts with those and overcomes them. Next is Secrets Uncovered. And what mean by that is she's isekai. In other isekai stories, it's usually like secret, and no one really wants to talk about that, and they don't really want to tell the world that, hey, I'm from another universe. Like, what's up? It's pretty early on in this story in the first book where she's pretty much found out to be someone from another world. It's actually not a common occurrence, or it's a rare occurrence, but it's happened enough to where people know of her situation, and it causes a little bit of a trouble for her. She can't still just tell everyone she's from another universe or another world because people will, there's a group that would probably try to abduct her right away if they knew. But I just really liked to get that out of the way. For some reason, I don't know, when they kind of like burst the bubble on that and the character was put on trial and it came out to that, she was from a different universe, it was just kind of like, okay, we don't have to, tiptoe around this anymore, except, just got to keep it from the everyday person. But there were people important enough in the series that were like, okay, they know, so she's got some protections, she got maybe some dangers as well. But it was just nice to have some things out in the open, and I really appreciated that. Not all the time. I understand in some stories that isekai people need to be like secretive and not say where they're from and all that jazz. But yeah, so I just really like to get some things out in the open with this series, this story. Next, her academic prowess of the main character. I just really enjoy how in depth the character is getting with magic to measure it, how like the system works, how can you kind of abuse it, work it to your benefit. I really like how she's getting super analytical about this and just kind of diving into nitty gritty. And eventually she starts to get like funds and resources that she can spend on her experiments. And she has like checklists of things that she wants to accomplish. And it's really, really interesting to see. And the author just, put just it doesn't break down because she's trying to figure out this imaginary, fantasy system. It just gets more interesting in how the author has created the world and is getting explanations for how, magic works in this story, which I find interesting. But yeah, next, that's pretty much all of my pros for this. The cons, again, I really like this story, but I want to try to make it to where if people aren't exactly enthralled with what I'm saying, or maybe that they want to have some things to balance out the good and the bad, I wanted to throw out a couple cons that I could see some people not having that could have issues with. So the first thing is this character is super analytical. They spend a lot of time on certain parts of the story where she's just flushing out things. And it's it's just kind of like, okay, this is a lot of the story based on these things, and this character is getting really into the nitty gritty of how this works, how this world works, and like gathering information. So that could be off-putting some characters that just kind of want the story to move along. It's like, oh, don't question things, just roll with it. This character does not just roll with it. She wants to know the process, and she wants to know how things work, and she doesn't just want to, skip through life without knowing. She wants to know. She will stop and be like, nope, I got to know about this. Let's get into it. And I mean, it's not really an action-packed universe. There is some fight scenes. Characters in the book are trying to make her, able to defend herself, but it's not super action packed. So if you're someone that enjoys, nonstop action and fighting, this is probably not for you. But other than that, like I said, or mentioned or touched on it, is, sometimes the story just really surrounds a certain area and uses a lot of the story to do that. Spends a lot of time on a certain area. And again, some people might just be like, oh, Mom, let's move on. But in this story, in this instance, I really enjoy when this character is just getting to the nitty gritty. It still moves to where like she's learning more about the system and magic and all that. And she's really getting information that's good to move forward with her other experiments. But I could see some people just being like, oh, well, this isn't great, or I want to move on to something new and different. So those are the kind of the cons that I could see if someone didn't really like the story or wouldn't really get into it. But I really like how this character gets analytical, and just how she kind of sets out the, what she wants to continue to do and how she wants to grow. But I think this is a really great story if you're someone that likes kind of like the more nitty gritty stats and stuff like that. It's just one that I would highly recommend. Again, I will put a link in the description of this video, so you can go ahead and read the author's summary, get the sample from Audible, and check more on it there. Because again, I want you to have the best shake of things before you spend your credits or spend your money on getting this audiobook. But I really enjoyed it. I'm pretty biased on this one, and I cannot wait. At the time of this recording, there is, I think it's like 2 or 3 days from this recording, that the next book in this series is coming out, and I'm really excited about it. I think by the description of it, it looks like it's talking more about the secret society that wants to, talk to this particular character about being transferred from her world to this world. And this, it's not really a great thing because it messes with a lot and puts a lot of people in danger, because every time this happens, there's a lot of broken mana, which kills usually a lot of people in the story. Because like I was saying before, people become mages by certain processes, but the one that could, is a higher risk but easier is saturating yourself with broken mana. And if you survive that, like kind of like poison in a way, if you survive that, you become a mage, and there's more benefits in this world in being a mage, and you're like I hate to say it like this, but like a higher class citizen. Like there are certain laws that don't apply to you because you're a mage, I guess because there's so few of them in this world, and they're just really important. But yeah, I just really like this series, and I can't wait for the next book, and I hope I piqued your interest enough to go check it out. If you, I would love to know what lit RPG or just audiobooks or even just books, if you're not into the audiobook scene, just let me know in the comments of what you're reading right now. I'm excited for those that are in, if you've watched some of my videos, I'm really into the Wandering Inn series, and I got to get an early copy of that. So if you're watching this and you have gotten to book 13 of the Wandering Inn series in the audiobook version, I'd love to hear how you're enjoying that so far. And also, if you have any audiobooks that I have not listed off in these videos, or maybe something that you just really enjoy, let me know in the comments and I'll go check it out. I'm always up for a new audiobook and a new story, and just really enjoy listening to audio or listening to books, and the audiobook scene is just my favorite. So without further ado, I'll let you all go and get on with your books, and I'm going to get back to mine. I'm finishing Hugh Fights with Monsters, book 11 right now, and I'm just, it's a tearjerker towards the end. But yeah, so without further ado, I'll let y'all go. All right, toodles!